In 1995, I was in my front yard mowing my grass. I had a beautiful house out in the country. It was everything that a family would ever want. 3-bedroom, it had a library at the end of it, had a huge bathroom, huge living room. I mean, it was, and had it furnished. I mean, it had the best furniture. And the way we had acquired the house was my mother-in-law had passed away, and she had left us the money to buy a home. And we'd only been in the house about a year, and I was out cutting the grass that Saturday morning, and the Lord told me to stop the lawnmower, and I did. And I looked out on the property, and He said to me as clear as I ever heard the Lord speak. He said, "Sell your house and prepare to move." I said, "Lord, there's no way I'm gonna go in there and tell that woman that I'm gonna sell her house." Her mother had passed away, and when she did, she left enough money for us to buy the house. And here we are, we had this dream house and everything that we wanted. So I said, "Lord, if you want me to sell this house, I'm not gonna tell her. You'll have to send buyers, and I'm not gonna advertise it." 7 days later, the next Saturday, I'm sitting in my living room, and I look, and a couple from our church pull in. And when they did, they walked in the house, and they said, "We really love your house. We've just sold 2 of our properties, and we want you to know if you ever decide to sell this house, we'll buy it." So I threw out a number that I didn't think that they would purchase it for, and the woman looked at me. She said, "Sold." And before they left, they gave me $10,000 to hold the house. And when my wife got home, I hadn't told her yet. I said, "Sweetie, the Lord told me to sell the house last weekend, and a couple showed up today." And she said, "You're not going to believe it." She said, "The Lord had been speaking to me about it too." I said, "Well, that's just the way God is." I said, "But where are we going to go?" We had no idea where God wanted us to go. So we went and talked to our pastor, and he said, "Randy, you should think about going to Emmanuel College." And so I went down to preview weekend. I went there, and God worked it out where I could get in school in the next month. And so we went down there with faith, hope, knew the Lord was sending us there. And the first 2 years was really good. Like, we acclimated to a new church. We began serving there at the school. I became president of Baptist Student Union there, although I wasn't even Baptist, but they had nominated me to do it. But then all hell broke loose, and it really did. My son was born in 98. He was sick all the time. He was in the hospital all the time. I developed those panic attacks that I was talking about in my video the other day. Financially, we were broke. And I was working 3 jobs at the time. I was working at a grocery store, fitness center, and I was working to get my practicum hours in for my degree in psychology. I was working at a group home for people with developmental disabilities. But and then my wife was on the way to take my son to the daycare, and the transfer truck ran out in front of her, and when it did, she ran off the road and total lost our car. I mean, it was tragic. She was injured, my son was injured, and the transfer truck kept going. Didn't stop, didn't check on her, nothing like that. So we had no money. My son was sick. I had panic disorder. We didn't have a car. It was just tragic. And I remember I was on the way to Athens because of these panic attacks. I thought I was having heart problems, because that's what you think when you're having panic attacks. Like, you think there's something physically wrong with me when it's actually something mentally wrong with you. So I was on the way back, and I remember I looked up at the sky and I said, "Lord, you sent me here 2 years ago to do your work here. You sent me here to go to school. You sent me here, God. You told me to sell everything I had and come here. Now I got no car, I ain't got no money. My son's sick. My wife's frustrated." And I remember I got back home that day and I didn't know what to do. So I did what every grown man does when he don't know what to do. I picked up the phone and I called my mama. And I said, "Mama, I got no money. Joshua's sick. We ain't got a car. It's bad. I got panic disorder. I don't even want to go to school. I don't want to go to work. I got to figure out what's wrong with my health. I don't know what we're going to do, Mama. We didn't even have enough money to pay our rent. Our rent was only $225 a month in that little apartment on college campus. We couldn't even pay that. And I said, Mama, you there? Because she kind of got silent. I said, Mama, are you there? And she said, son, all I can hear the Lord saying is believe one more day. And that's how Believe One More Day was birthed. It was birthed out of pain. It was birthed out of me not having any money. I was sick. My son was sick. We didn't even have a car to drive. I was having to walk to school and boy rides. She said, son, all I can hear the Lord saying is believe one more day. And I had a dry erase board in my bedroom, and I went in there and I wrote believe one more day on that dry erase board, and it became my motto for life. And that's how I wrote my book, Believe One More Day. I wrote it out of pain. I didn't even know it was going to turn into a book. I was just trying to make it through life. Believe one more day. And in the book, I said, if you can't believe one more day, believe one more hour. If you can't believe one more hour, believe one more minute. Can't believe one more minute, believe one more second. But whatever you do, don't stop believing that God can turn it around. And it didn't turn around completely that day, but I'm gonna tell you, it began to turn around. There was a couple that lived back home in North Carolina that says, hey, we got a car you can borrow. They brought the car down. The Lord began healing me from this panic disorder. My son got better. And to make a long story short, I finished that semester on the dean's list and became the president of Pi Gamma Mu, which is the International Honor Society for Behavioral and Social Sciences. And before I graduated from college, we had a brand new Ford Windstar minivan that was perfect for our family. We had money. I got a great job making more money than I'd ever made in my entire life, working back in North Carolina at the Boys and Girls Home in North Carolina. And God turned that whole situation around because I didn't give up. I believe one more day. And I don't know what you're facing today. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's health, maybe it's a relationship issue, maybe it's all three. But whatever it is, I want you to believe one more day. I don't want you to give up. I've watched God turn things around in my life so many times, and if He can do it for me, He can do it for you. You might be in a situation right now where you just need to hear this morning. Believe one more day. God hasn't given up on you, and you don't need to give up on Him. He's turning this situation around for the good. No matter how bad it looks, He can do it. He can change it. I've seen Him change things in my life so many times. So if you're struggling today, take that to heart. And if you want to read my book, go to the post section of YouTube. I put it on there. You can read it for free. I can't send you a hard copy. You can order one for $10. But if you want to read that whole story, that whole book, that book's 160 pages long, and it's filled with hope and God's Word. Just go to the post section and download it right on your iPhone or computer or whatever you have, Android, for free, and read it. At least read the first chapter. That story I just told, and see what God done in my life. He could do in my life. He can do it in yours. I'm praying for you. Happy Friday. Get through this day. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. God bless you.